What's going on, guys? Asian Guy here, and today I want to discuss a question that I have received non-stop since the release of Pirate Rumble on the global server of One Piece Treasure Cruise. Do I invest in or do I level up the special or the passive of XYZ unit? Now, in this video, we have multiple infographics covering specials, passives, and also both specials and passives, and which units benefit from these kind of investments. And we also have a chart here, or rather a little infographic here, to discuss and crunch down certain numbers so you guys know and can kind of scale the value of each Pirate Rumble scroll investment that you do make. Now, first things first, I would actually like to apologize to the people who invested in a free Spirit Crit team, because my assumption was that Global was not that far behind and actually had Marco and Ace fully maxed out from Kizuna. But Marco and Ace is actually not maxed out in Kizuna, and that means you're missing a lot of base stats for Marco and Ace, which is going to be a big problem because they are the most important unit to a free Spirit Crit team. So apologies for that. I would hold off on that team for now from the previous videos and look more so into either striker, slasher, or a shooter team, which seems to be dominating global right now. The other question I receive a lot is, what can beat the slasher team? The short answer is, really, there is no other team as good as the slasher team, other than maybe the strikers, which rely on the HP cuts and also the fixed damage. So you're looking at the Whitebeard 6+, you're looking at the Aokijis, and also the 6+ Aokiji, and also the 6+ V2 Law, or the Carrots. Those kind of units, that kind of combination. But for the time being, you're going to have to wait until you get more units on global. Pirate Rumble EXP allocation. This is the number crunching time. Let's make this short and sweet. Legends require 300,000 EXP. Normal rare recruits like the very powerful In Enel, which is going to be coming to global in like 5 days time. He debuted on the super type sugo-fest on Japan as one of the major int units, and he did get a huge buff in PvP. Those kind of units will only cost around 150,000 EXP. Others are basically all free-to-play units that are not one cost or that are not Fortnite units. So they're like Kizuna units, Coliseum units, Treasure Map Mode units, etc, etc. Will also cost around 150,000 EXP, which is, you know, it's a reasonable amount because there are some very good units in there. We're getting more of those as well. We're also getting Pirate Festival or Pirate Rumble free-to-play units. The Ace on Global is an example of that right now. On Japan, it's a Strength Usopp, who is really good in both PvE and PvP. So the Pirate Rumble rewards have actually been buffed in terms of the quality of units we're getting for free from Pirate Rumble. Now, the main thing here that I want you guys to notice is the PvP limited rare recruits. These are the Otamas, the Josus, and the Nekomamushis, which are currently on global, that cost only 20 in PvP, which is absurd. This is a third of the cost of maxing a legend. Everyone who cares about doing anything in PvP should have done the discount multi on the V3 Akainu banner, at least one multi on that banner to get one of those top tier PvP units for free on the +1. Well, not for free, it's going to cost 30 gems, but guaranteed on the +1. Everyone should have pulled at least one of them because they're all very good, and they can slot into your team very easily at 20 cost. These units are so easy to max out, especially their passives, and the specials, while they are very good, you don't really need to have them all on level 10, and they'll still be very effective as well. So you're looking at around like 70,000 EXP to get your Pirate Rumble exclusive unit into a very useful position. And then you have Fortnite free-to-play units. Please don't invest in these, guys. Please don't invest in these. And if you are looking to be very efficient with your scrolls, you should be feeding them so that they get bonus EXP by corresponding colors. So strength and red scrolls, or dex and green scrolls, should go into strength and red characters, and dex and green characters, etc, etc. It works the same for all characters. Dual units can benefit from both of their colors if they do have 2 colors or 2 typings, so do keep that in mind. But again, there is no color affinity in PvP. If a dual unit is like strength and psi, they will not count for strength and psi teams. They will have no color in terms of their type boost, but they will have their classes in their dual forms retained as well. And my personal recommendation, guys, is always buy Rayleigh shop scrolls. If you are a whale, you have a lot of Rayleigh points, there's really nothing else to spend it on there in terms, I mean, you only have legend tickets in there, which I personally don't really care for. because the chance of me pulling something from that is not that great, and it's a lot of Rayleigh points to ask for, which you could be spending on scrolls and other useful things as well. Rumble shop scrolls, as I mentioned earlier, is something you should be looking to buy out from the PvP shop as well. The more Rumble scrolls you have, the better your units, the stronger they are, and the stronger they are going to be for defensive wins. And the more defensive wins you get, the more, or rather the less gems you have to spend to rank higher, and also the more tickets you're going to be getting passively as well. So you do really want to get there ahead of the curve and have all your units maxed out way before any other player, and that will give you a huge advantage, especially in the early stages of PvP. But after all this talk, let's go into the specific units and which units want specials, which units want passives, and which units want both. I'll see you in a moment. Alrighty guys, I don't want to keep you here for too long. I am going to try and blast through all of these as fast as possible, but I do apologize. I'm very sleep deprived recently, so I will maybe blunder some words, some names, some terminologies, but hopefully the message is loud and clear. First of all, these are units that benefit mainly and very much from their specials rather than their passives. Some of them do have decent passives or even good passives, but for a lot of teams that they're meta for, or a lot of teams that they do live on or stay on, you see what I mean, guys? I'm using weird phrases here, weird terminologies because I'm sleep deprived. I can't really think straight, but for the teams they're used on, that's what I want to say. A lot of them are maybe rainbow teams, or they're there as a damage dealer, and their passive won't really contribute to the other units, which is therefore a waste of your pirate scroll. So let's begin. One of them is Whitebeard and the other one is Akainu. Both of these units have specials that do not scale off their attack stat, yet their passive boosts attack stat. So it's a little bit illogical to go for those universal abilities, or even in Akainu's case, a limited to strength unit. So not that great. And in terms of the power spike of the passive, nothing too special there, because Whitebeard, he has a very nice secondary passive, which is when his HP is under 30%, he will give himself level 8 defense up, but that's the same at level 1 and also level 5. So it doesn't really make a difference if he's at level 1 or level 5 passive, because that's the main thing from his passive. So Whitebeard, you don't need to level up his passive. Akainu, you don't need to level up his passive, but you do want to max their skills, because their skills or their special ability, very nice. Very nice. Now, Inu Arashi does have a decent passive. It's a speed boost for cerebrals and also attack up to himself under a third in HP threshold. I believe it's 60%, maybe 70%. But either way, it's okay. The attack up is a decent amount, but it's, you know, if you are going for squishy enemies, the attack up is negligible, and if they have defense up, your attack stat is going to be pretty much negligible as well. So Inu Arashi, he is mainly used on slasher teams. Cerebral teams is not really meta, so that speed is only going to benefit himself almost all the time, and maybe a Shanks crew, but ultimately I don't think that passive is that essential. Better off using as much EXP as possible for that special ability. Raid Rayleigh has a very nice special. He's one of the, I would say, cheeky bait units that you can put on a slasher team to try and bait people to attack you, because they'll be like, oh, that's not an Inu, that's a Rayleigh. Now what this Rayleigh does is he's going to reduce the cooldown of your slasher allies, or your allies full stop, which is really good. It's a cheeky special, it's a very short cooldown, and I do recommend people do check out these units rather than just straight up copy and pasting teams, so that you guys can also develop an understanding of what the units actually do and what's good and what's bad. Next up is Kung Fu Luffy, who I put in previously as a meme, wink guys, as a meme, but this Kung Fu Luffy does have, he actually has a pretty good passive. It's okay. I believe it's attack up as well, maybe speed up. I can't remember completely, but his special again is the main thing. He's a universal unit, so you do want to have him on many different teams, because he does have a lot of damage, 2.5 times the attack with paralysis. Very bellissimo, very good. Mihawk is an attack up for slashers, which again, not the biggest deal in the world. He is a HP cutter himself, so he doesn't really benefit from that attack up too much, and his HP cut is a short cooldown, which also means he has less rotations in his normal attack chain. but with the HP cut, it's very, very deadly. I believe it hits a max cap of 43%, which is pretty damn awesome. Whitebeard comes in at 48%, so you know that Mihawk as a free-to-play unit and on the most meta team right now, very nice investment if you do level up his special ability. You've got Usopp, who is only really good for a special. His passive is attack up to shooters, not that great, not that important, and he boosts himself even further when his HP is lower, which again, not that great for Usopp, because guess what? He does a HP cut, guys. He does a HP cut. I mean, what's up with this attack up but then having HP cut special? I don't really get it. I'm pretty sure Mihawk is also attack up, this V2 Legend Mihawk, and he's also a HP cutter. So, yes, you do want them for their specials, not really for their passives. Next up, we have Aokiji, who doesn't really have the greatest passive in the world. It relies on crit strikes, which is not really anywhere in strikers right now. He's there for their fixed damage and the ability to bind your enemy team. So Aokiji, really only good for specials. Always keep his passive at level 1, otherwise you're really throwing away a lot of Rumble scrolls. You have got the Cerebral V2 6+ Law, who is actually pretty dang good with the passive. He has a big speed buff. It does expire after 50 seconds, but the main thing for this V2 Law, just like Aokiji, is the fixed damage special. And then we have Carrot, who is also a speed buff in the passive, but the main thing is also the special. This max Carrot special, very good, reduces the cooldown of her allies that she does boost by 20%, and she specifically charges them by 20%, which is really good for a fixed damage special bonus as well. So 2450 fixed damage in a large forward line is really good. I still have her. I do have a max passive and max special on JP. I'm just one of those people that if I use a unit a lot, I might as well max special them, but her passive is one of those that I would say doesn't take the highest priority on your team, but if you do have leftover scrolls, it's not harmful to feed them away to her. Lucci is also in that same bracket. His passive is pretty good. It's a speed boost, which is always very helpful, but his special is the thing you should be looking to max first. A lot of damage because it's a level 7 defense down to the enemies he's about to hit, and then he hits them for a good amount of damage, which can one-shot people, especially when it's under 30 seconds, guys. I'm sure you've all seen it now, that under 30 seconds, your charge time is decreased so that your cooldowns come up faster, and then enemies, and including your own defense level, is reduced. And then it's Lucci reducing it even further. Oh my goodness. Very good. Very good. Smoker also does a lot of damage, just like Carrot in a straightforward line. 2.5 times attack is nothing to laugh about, and a lot of paralysis as well. So you do want his special. His passive is centered around quick units, and I do not really recommend going for mono quick teams. I think it's better to branch out into more class-based teams. A lot of quick units are very good, but they do fall into the category of like strikers, shooters, etc. So you do kind of want to branch out and mix it up with some other non-quick units. We have got V3 Bar, whose passive is not bad, but it's a little bit RNG. Her passive will give you attack up, flat attack up, which is obviously not that great, and it's really not that good for the Psy units, because so many of them are either HP cutters or they're just fixed damage dealers. A lot of them are fixed damage dealers, so attack up is not that useful. And then she does have defense up in her kit, but she needs to be under 50% HP, which is something I'm not too fond of. But her special is pretty damn insane. 4000 fixed damage to the enemy with the lowest HP, which is an elimination special or an execution special. And then on top of that, she will give a large attack up buff to all your Psy units, and also a massive attack down debuff to enemies in a large range that she does hit. So that's a very good special, but her passive, again, a bit RNG reliant. You've got Aokiji, whose passive is okay as well, but also not like top tier, but he's mainly there for a special which reduces the defense of, I believe, strength and int units, which is very useful as well, and it's a very long defense down reduction as well. But maxing his special is, at this moment in time, not a good idea, because the Psy team is probably the most paid to win heavy team right now out of all the teams there, and it's very much good for beating the int team, but it does struggle with a lot of other teams against them. So we have 6+ Sanji, whose passive is an attack up. you guys are seeing a common theme here, guys. Attack up, if that's the passive, you probably shouldn't be investing in it unless that comes with something else. But yes, this Sanji, not that great passive. His special is very good, just like Lucci, will reduce enemies' defense and then burst them for 2.15 times his attack, which is a lot more than Lucci. But his cooldown is a lot higher, and I would say, because there's so many other good int units, he's not a unit you should really be investing in right now. But if you don't have any other int units that I'll be showing you, or you don't plan to pull for the int units, then maybe you do want to invest in 6+ Sanji special. It's a very, very good KO special. And then we have Akainu. Akainu is very similar to Aokiji. It will do defense down reduction, I believe, for Sai and quick units for a very long time as well. Now, I didn't really see any top tier dual units that are only useful for their specials. Most of them are useful for their passives and their specials. So we'll move on to that in a moment. So let's head on over to the infographic, which is going to be the passives. Now, these units, you can keep them at low level specials or even just a level 1 special, but you do want to look at their passives because their passive abilities can be very, very useful. In terms of Jack, it's a HP boost universal and also a defense boost. His HP cut is not bad as a special. It's not bad, but I think it's very good at a low level already. Even at like a level 4, it's absolutely a-okay. It's not one that I would want to take up to level 10 because his HP cut after the first 30 seconds of the battle really dwindles and it goes down to like an 11% HP cut, maybe 14%. It's rubbish, basically. It's one that is good early on in the game, early on in the battle for the first 30 seconds, but after that it really does fall off. Then you have this Pyro, I think actually this is, I can't remember where this Usopp is from. It's Stampede Usopp. It might be a treasure map mode free-to-play unit, but his passive is a cooldown reduction for all units, which is very, very nice, and he's a very good unit to put on bait teams. You have got Magellan, whose special is not bad at all. It's a very slow cooldown, but his passive gives you a lot of tankiness if you have a lot of units on your team, which should be everyone who is attacking. He's not very good on defense, but he's very good on attack. And then we also have got Nami. Her passive is very good for dex units. It's very good for charging up their cooldowns, but her special, not that useful at all. Doesn't do a lot of damage even at max level, and paralysis is an okay-ish debuff. Let's move on to the other cooldown reducers. You'll see a big pattern here, guys. Units which specifically focus on cooldown reduction don't really have the best specials in the world, which is why Kizaru is an exception. So Tesoro has cooldown reduction for all units, a rainbow unit. He's also striker driven, which is not bad, especially being a striker, and he's also quick as well. A lot of good quick units in the game, but his special ability is definitely not one I would go all the way to level 10 for. Maybe like a level 4 or a level 5, but level 10, never that, because it's a very, very small range buff to your defense and it lasts only 10 seconds, so it expires really, really quickly. The fixed damage is nice, but 1700 in a small range if it only hits one enemy. If it only hits an enemy which has a lot of HP already, not that great at all. Cracker is a powerhouse and slasher cooldown reducer, but his special ability, pretty much Hot Garbage, medium range, which is not great. Doesn't do a lot of damage, and it charges his special if his HP is under 50%. I think that's correct, but he's good for his passive, but he's not very good for his special. And you do want, in slasher teams, to have both of them as good. We have got Sugar, whose special is very, very dependent on your enemies. Her passive is also very dependent on her enemies, but it is a hard counter to strength units, so her passive in that regard is going to be very useful. There are some good strength units on Japan at the moment, and obviously on global you still have a lot of people who don't follow like content creators or the OPTC subreddit who have no idea what they're doing, and they have Douglas Bullet, V1 Big Mom, and like Snake Man in their team. So this Sugar against those kind of teams, her passive being maxed is going to be very helpful. Deadbeard, now I don't recommend anybody invest in Deadbeard because V1 Whitebeard and also the PvP Whitebeard are superior versions of Whitebeard, but this Deadbeard actually has a pretty good passive for powerhouse and striker units, so if you do want to go that route, it's something you could look into, but I do think for striker teams, V1 Whitebeard is way, 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 way better. We've got Onami, who has a rainbow special of a HP up and I believe cooldown reduction of level 1, which is pretty damn good, but her special unfortunately is Hot Garbage, which is why I don't think she's a unit you should be looking to invest in. Her HP or rather her special will heal HP if you're under 70%, and if you're above 70%, she will actually reduce enemies' defense, which is really, really good, but there's always a very good chance, because her cooldown is average, that she's going to be under 70% and she's just going to give you healing, which in the long run might not actually be a good thing, because there are units like V2 Rayleigh 6+, which need you to be under 60% HP to benefit. Whitebeard V1 needs to be under 30% HP, where he truly shines with 8 levels in defense up. So sometimes healing is not that great, which is why I'm not really a big fan of healers, because I do use V1 Whitebeard, and I also use Dex V2 6+ Rayleigh as well, who requires you to have low HP. Let's look at the Psy units. Now, the Psy units actually have a lot of rare recruits and non-legends who are very, very good for their passives, but not so great for their specials. So for the free spirit crit team, you can either be using the Psy Hancock super evolved or non-super evolved, because she does actually boost Psy and shooter crit levels, and as we all know, this Psy, not Psy super type, sorry, the Psy V2 Boa, apologies, I'm sleep deprived, guys, I am going to make some mistakes, apologies, but Psy V2 Boa Hancock, the super evolved version, is a free spirit and shooter unit, so she doesn't actually get the full benefit from her own special ability. If you are going to run her in a shooter team, you want to have the non-super evolved version, but the passive is there to give you crit and attack up every time she crits as well, which is super, super nice. Self-sufficient unit. We have got Bello Betty, who's mainly there for her crit passive. We've got Nami there, who is a very good unit in terms, I believe she gives HP and speed, or HP and cooldown, or HP and defense. I think it's HP and speed, I can't remember 100%, but she does have a very, very nice universal passive. Her special ability is not bad at all either, but not one I would heavily invest to straight off the bat. Robin and Viola, exactly the same. Very, very, very nice passives, especially for mono side teams. Their specials are okay as well, but their passives are very, very good for mono side teams. We've got Pika, whose special is not one I would go hard in. It is a HP cut, it is a target lock, but this Pika, while having a very good special, not very good special, sorry, a very good passive, doesn't have the best special in the world. So he's definitely a passive unit that you want to have at level 5 passive if you do invest into the Pika. Then we have got 6+ Beige, we have got 6+ Fujitora, we have got 6+ Jinbei, we have got 6+ Robin, we have got 6+, oh, they're all 6+, 6+ Buggy, and also 6+ Hody Jones. All have pretty solid specials, but none of them have like any mega power spikes at level 10. They're all decent at level 1, and most of all, what's most important here is that their passives are all tanky and very, very good, other than the Buggy. So 6+ Beige, very, very tanky unit, or 6-star Beige even on global is still very, very tanky, but he does heal himself 50% HP at level 1 special and also level 10 special. Therefore, it's okay to keep him at level 1 special and have his passive maxed out, which gives him a lot more HP and tankiness. Fujitora has a huge, huge, huge HP cut, but you know, between like 43% and 52% HP. I'm not going to say it's the biggest difference when it's like that kind of, actually it might be 59% HP cut and a 48% at level 1. Either way, the difference is not that massive. It's not something that warrants having like a level 10 special. I mean, level 4, level 5 special. Level 4 is very easy to achieve. I would level him up to level 4 special if you are going to invest in him. But his passive is a massive HP boost. You do want to have his passive maxed out if you are going for driven teams, especially the int driven team, and if you want to put him on that team. Jinbei, you want to have his passive maxed out. He gives HP and defense up. Very, very good combination, as you guys all know from 6+ Doflamingo, who does that as well. You've got Robin, who has a guard rate up passive, which is very nice as well. And she will also give defense up to cerebral units for the first few seconds of the battle, but her special ability is definitely not one worth maxing out at level 10. Buggy gives speed to everyone, very nice universal passive. His special ability is also decent, but not worth one getting to level 10. Hody Jones, exactly the same thing, very good passive for the teams that he boosts, which are going to be powerhouse units, makes them a lot more tankier and reduces their cooldown as well, which is huge. And then on top of that, his special ability is very, very mediocre, 1700 fixed damage to the enemy with the highest defense, and I think he does give a defensive buff, but not the greatest special in the world. And then we have Connis, who I don't actually fully remember what she does. Her special hard counters Psy units, but outside of that is Actually, she might need to be a unit you want to have max passive and max special for. But definitely her passive is a hard counter to a lot of units in the game, so I do recommend. Man, I actually have no idea what this Connis does. I don't remember. I just know she's good. So maybe passive and special for Connis. Apologies, guys. Very, very sleep deprived here. I can't do these videos in the future sleep deprived. We have got the new Bar Hancock, which came out with the new V4 Lore and the new V3 Mihawk. Her special ability is okay, but her passive is really, really good. It gives crit chance, and it also gives attack up every time she crits, which is super, super nice. So do keep that one in mind. And then we have got the Free Spirit crit unit. So Marco and Ace, special ability doesn't matter too much. Same with Sabo Koala, because you're going to be running them on crit teams. And what you're looking for on crit teams are normal attacks, normal powerful attacks, and normal strong attacks, and not really their special. Especially Marco and Ace, their special definitely doesn't deserve level 10. It's not a massive attack multiplier and doesn't do that much damage. It does give attack down to the enemies, but by then Marco and Ace are going to be on their last legs because they cut themselves by 80% HP. You hate to see it. Sabo and Koala, level 10 special, not bad. Not bad. It's a bit strange because what they do is they'll attack first in a large AoE, and then they'll hit a small AoE range. But before they do the small AoE range on their second attack, or the second part of their special, they will lower the defense of enemies. The defense down, the defense reduction doesn't last very long, so I don't think their special is worth it too much, especially because you're trying to crit with this unit. So don't invest too heavily into their specials. Viola and Rebecca, free-to-play unit. They have a good special, good healing, good attack up, but mainly you do want to look out for them because of their passive, which is going to be cooldown reduction for all units for the first, I believe, 30 seconds of the round, which is pretty solid. And then the special becomes kind of redundant after 50 seconds. It will just be healing over and over again, but the healing is not top tier. It's like mediocre healing. That's why. And especially int scrolls, int units are like the best units to be running in the game right now. You don't really want to be using int scrolls into this Viola and Rebecca. We've got the Kizuna. I believe this is Kizuna. Is it Kizuna? It is Kizuna. Kizuna, Nami, and Sanji. Actually, it might be. I can't remember. Treasure Map, sorry. Treasure Map, Nami, and Sanji. They have a crit passive for free spirit units. So, you know, there's nothing else to say other than they're a crit passive. Let's move on to last but not least, the passives and specials. These are like the best units to be investing into, so let's break this down. Alrighty guys, apologies for the low energy. Before I passed out, let's blast through all these very, very good units. So, the new V3 Akainu, one of the most busted units in the game. He has permanent defense down of level 3 after half the match has expired on his passive. One of the best passives in the game. And then on top of that, his special ability, oh my goodness, a one-shot of enemy healers or anyone with the highest recovery on the enemy team. It's disgusting. He has bleed in there as well. One of the best PvP units on the game. I cannot wait for him to come to Japan, and I really, really do hope I can pull him when he does. But very, very powerful unit. You want to max both his passive and his special, but passive has to come first, because that passive, a level 3 defense down, is disgusting. One of the few ways to actually beat that 6+ Dofi slasher team. We have got the Sweet Commanders, which is going to be a HP and attack up passive, which is a nice balance, and then they do a lot of damage with their special ability as well, and I believe they do have a bit of a power spike when you hit level 10 special on them, but I will not say they are top priority units to max out right now, like the V3 Akainu. You've got Kaku. He's a Pirate Festival limited rare recruit. In fact, all 3 of these following units are Pirate Festival limited rare recruit, and they are 20 cost. They are easy to max out. So for the cost of maxing out one Sweet Commanders unit, you can max all 3 of these units out. Because they're easy to max and because they're all so good, you should max them out. Actually, the Sanji is not on the same level as Otama and Kaku, who are like god tier units, but he is still very good for strength teams. You will eventually, if you do pull him and you do want to run a strength team, you should be maxing out these units, especially the Sanji and the Kaku. Otama, very good for fighters, very good for free spirit units. She's on global. I just recommend you guys read what she does and you'll understand exactly why she's so good. This Usopp is on Japan. He has a lot of damage in his special ability, but the main thing is he gives level 6 attack up and level 6 speed. So attack up on its own is okay, but then paired up with the speed, very, very good for, I believe, shooters and free spirits. 2 very good classes in PvP. You can even put him on the crit team because he already gives you level 6 attack up, and the level 6 speed just means you have more opportunities to hit your normal attacks and more opportunities to crit. So he's a very, very good free-to-play unit that we have gotten on Japan. So very good for passives, very good for specials, but you do want to prioritize his passive first if you're on JP. V2, Dex Rayleigh. One of the best units in PvP. I use him on basically all of my teams. His passive will give you level 5 HP up. When his HP falls under 60%, the Rayleigh specifically, he will give you level 5 guard rate and level 5 defense up. Basically making a lot of your units very hard to kill. Very, very tanky. His special is top tier as well. His special is 1700 fixed damage in a large range. And then to top it off, give you level 5 or level 6 attack and defense up for a reasonable amount of time. Very, very, very good tank unit. One of the best units out there for tanky. You've got Dex, Super Type Kid. One of the best Dex units for a mono Dex team. He makes your team very tanky. He has a lot of AoE damage. And in that AoE damage special, it's paired up with defense up. So he's basically like 6+ Dofi, but for Dex teams. Strongworld Ace, he is going to be a free spirit and shooter booster, I believe, for speed. And he also gives himself a lot of attack up, low cooldown, very good special, AoE special that hits absolutely everyone and will not miss anybody on the field. For 2 times his attack, very good at killing squishy teams, and also very good on a defense team for taking enemies by surprise. Corazon, he has good healing, he has defense up in his healing now, he got a big buff. And then on top of that, his passive is a hard counter to all quick units, slowing them down, slowing down the rate at which their cooldowns come off. So very, very, very good unit in that regard. However, again, as you guys know, I don't really like healers. I don't see the point of running them on a team. You know, if you can kill your enemy before they kill you, you don't need healers at all. So do keep that in mind as well. 6+ Jinbei, tanky unit, tanky special, makes your allies more tanky, and I believe it's a HP cut as well. You really can't go wrong with that, and he boosts 3 different colors as well. So his passive, very, very good. Passive again, coming first for all of these units, except for Strongworld Ace. Except for Strongworld Ace. You want your passives up on all of these units except for Strongworld Ace and maybe the Kid. And then you want to work on the specials. For Kaku, for Kaku as well, I would say max his special. His special is probably a little bit better than his passive. But for everybody else, you do want their passives up first. PvP Whitebeard. Both of them, you have to max both of them. When he comes out and you pull him, he's gonna come with max special and max passive, so don't worry too much about that. But if you pull him away from his debut Sugo, then you are gonna have to max him, and I do recommend leaving some blue scrolls or quick scrolls for him. He's the best, or arguably the best PvP unit in the game, so yeah, you want to have him max. He's very, very, very good. And I don't really want to talk about too much what he does, but when he comes to global, you'll understand truly how powerful this unit is. I showcased him yesterday as well, so go check that video out. Frankie, very, very tanky unit in both his special and his passive, so you do want to max out both of those. But again, passive comes first because it's way, 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 way faster to max level. Bellamy, also very good in both passive and very good in his special as well. So again, I do recommend fully maxing out this unit. Nekomamushi, Pirate Festival Rare Recruit, very good passive. The passive absolutely has to come first. His special is also very good, but not on the same level as how good his passive is, because his passive will give you a flat level 6 defense up to striker and cerebral units, which is superb. You know, that's Whitebeard covered, that's the likes of Shanks crew covered. Really, 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 really good special. We've got V3 Law, who unfortunately doesn't have his abilities on global yet, but when he does, I'm telling you guys, when he does get it, you do want to max out his passive. His special is also very good, 2200 fixed damage in a large range, but his passive is a hard counter to Driven and Powerhouse units, which are a lot of units in the game. And guess who's Powerhouse and Driven? The German 66 units, unfortunately. But yes, the German 66 crew is a very good unit, very tanky for Psy units. It's like the equivalent of 6+ Dofi for Psy units, but he's going to hit 3 enemies for 2500 fixed damage. Very, very good. 6+ Kizaru. I think everyone knows what this unit does by now. If you don't, just go ahead into your box and read it. He's very, very good. Very good cooldown reduction, very good speed. You do want to max his passive out immediately, and his special ability I think is good from like level 6 onwards. Level 6 onwards, you're making a lot of love to that special. You've got Shirahoshi, again a healer. I'm not a big fan of healers, but if you do want to use her, her passive does give a lot of extra bonuses to Psy units. Outside of that, it will give her an insane amount of recovery up when her HP goes under a certain threshold. And then her healing special is going to heal you up like a disgusting amount, like 6,000, 7,000 HP. Something stupid, basically. So, yeah. If you are going to run Shirahoshi, you want to have her fully maxed out. You got Kalgara Nolan, which is like a self-nuker. He will keep targeting a single enemy and keep nuking over and over and over again. So you do want to have him fully maxed out. Pirate Festival unit, so way, way, way easier to max out than other units. And then, as you guys can see here, a little bit of an imbalance. A certain type of unit, very overpowered. It's the Int unit. 6+ Dofi. You guys know what he does. Defense up, HP up, attack up. He's just stupidness. His special ability is also defense up. Hits 3 enemies. He has great base stats. Overpowered unit. Nothing else to say. Blackbeard, passive, HP up, cooldown reduction for himself. His special ability, cooldown reduction for himself, does a lot of attack damage. That's why you want to have him fully maxed. We've got the V2 Katakuri super type unit, or V3 Katakuri super type unit, apologies. He is a hard counter to enemy Psy units, giving them defense down. He gives speed up to Int units. And then on top of that, 2,200 fixed damage, which cannot be avoided by the enemy team. It's going to hit everyone. And then he's going to debuff, I believe, Powerhouse, Free Spirit, and Cerebral units, which has a lot of good units in those classes. And he's going to debuff them by slowing down their speed and also their charge time. And it's going to hit all of those units as well. So very, very good. We've got the new V4 lore and the new Mihawk as well. I don't really want to talk too much about them other than they're both pretty OP in PvP. In terms of lore, he gives a permanent level 1 defense down to enemies, and he boosts speed of Int units by level 8, which is insane. And then his special is also very good AoE damage, and he gives some sort of buff or debuff. I can't remember what it is, but it's very good. This Mihawk is one of the hardest hitting units in the game. Every time he crits, a permanent level 2 defense down for all enemies, which is insane. That's so, so, so good. The one downside to this Mihawk is he's got a very high cooldown, but if you can get this special off in a large forward range, dealing 3 times an attack with defense down on the enemies at level 8 defense down, oh my goodness. Probably one of the most busted units in the game. Very, very, very good cannon. He's like a cannon unit. Not a glass cannon either, he's a cannon, because Int units are one of the tankiest classes in the game. And then if you are running this Mihawk, you need to have this Shanks maxed out. His passive absolutely has to be maxed out because he gives a level 7 crit up. Level 7 crit up, and when he himself crits, he gives a level, I think up to like a maximum of level 8 attack up to your Int allies, which is insanity. That is insane. He's a perfect combination with this new Mihawk. I really want to pull this Mihawk because I do have V2 Shanks. So yes, he also has an amazing, amazing special in a HP cut that hits all enemies, 25%, which is also very good. I can't remember the second part of his special, but all I remember is that it's also very, very good as well. We've got Pudding, whose passive is a hard counter to slashers, and I think, yeah, slashers specifically, maybe strikers and powerhouse. I can't remember which of the two, but slashers, she definitely debuffs them. Actually, I think it's slasher and powerhouse, or slasher and driven. But yeah, slasher, she definitely debuffs them a huge amount for their attack stat, and she will also buff your own allies' charge time with her special. She will give attack up to your Blackbeard if you're running Blackbeard on that team, or your ally with the highest attack stat. So a very, very good unit. This is the Anel I was talking about earlier, guys. Rare Recruit Anel. He has the most broken passive in the game, which is if your units are 6 or under. If you have 6 or under units remaining, so you want to run a team of 6, he will give them an insane amount of speed, an insane amount of HP. I think both at level 5 and level 3 defense. stupid unit. Jozu, he's on global. You can just read what he does. Very good. Tanky unit for your team, for your int team. Very speedy unit as well. Gives speed to the team. And on top of that is special, fixed damage, and defense up as well. Very good. And then last but not least, the 3 dual units we have got here. Sanji Luffy, Kizaru and Aokiji, and Shanks crew. Sanji and Luffy's passive, level 6 attack up, level 3 speed. And as I showcased yesterday, guys, his special, or their special, is freaking broken, absurd. Gives speed and attack up buffs, which is insane. Like an insane amount how much they give, and it lasts for such a long time. But the main thing is they do 3.5 times their attack to 2 enemies, which will not miss, which is really good for executing enemies. And then we have got another unit that gives attack up and speed in large quantities. It's going to be Kizaru and Akainu, which I believe is for driven and slashers. Actually, it might be HP and speed or HP and attack, but either way, it's a dual boosting passive. It's a dual boosting special, which hits a large AoE. Very good unit. I cannot wait for them to be maxed on JP and finally use them. And then Shanks crew, you guys know what the best legend on global does. Alright, he's an obnoxious unit. After 30 seconds, he will give level 4 defense up, which is very nice. Or level 5 defense up, which is very nice. And then after that, when he activates a special, actually I think it's the other way around. Level 4 defense up to all units when he's under 30 seconds, or after 30 seconds have passed. And then when he activates a special, which is on low cooldown, it's like a 21 or 23% HP cut in a medium range. But the main thing is that he gives level 5 defense up to all allies, which is amazing. Level 9 in total. Level 9 defense up after 30 seconds is amazing. And he's cerebral and Sasha, which is amazing. So yeah, Shanks crew is awesome. You want to max his passive and special. But for all of these units, other than the ones that deal massive AoE damage, you do want to focus on their passives first and then their specials. If there's any units that give defensive abilities, guys, and HP up, then of course you do want to focus on their passives first and max those things out. If they do give defense down as well to specific types or for specific enemies, then you also want to max out that special ASAP. That video was a lot longer than I wanted it to be, guys. I'm so sorry. I was so sleepy and so sleep deprived. I made several mistakes there in terms of terminology, but I think otherwise my message got through. After the month of September, I might be taking a break from streaming every day so that I can have some days to concentrate on YouTube videos. But right now, this is really not healthy for me because I'm trying to stream loads of hours a day as well for September to hit personal milestones. But after September's done in October, I should take a little bit of a chill pill. So hopefully you guys understand that I need to rest a little bit. But I hope you guys have been enjoying these videos. I hope these videos have been helpful for you guys. Again, if you have any questions, please do leave them in the comment section down below. I will try to answer them on Twitter as well. If you would like to send me a tweet, I will also answer questions on there as well. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Good luck in Pirate Rumble. Invest your scrolls efficiently and you'll be ahead of the curve. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. Remember to hashtag Dunkayoshi with a Bellissimo and have a wonderful day. I'm gonna go to sleep now. Bye bye.